Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Green interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Green.
Welcome to the RIA podcast. This is your host, Seth Green. Today, I have the good fortune of being interviewing Patrick Kilbane of Ullman Wealth Partners. Patrick is a wealth advisor, general counsel, partner, and director of the Divorce Advisory Group. Patrick, thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Seth. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Let's go back in time a little bit. How'd you get in the business in the first place?
I've always had an interest in personal finance, studied business as an undergraduate. And I spent the first part of my professional career as a litigator. Most of my cases were really high net worth divorce cases. And in 2006, I met my then business partner, Glenn Ullman. And when I concluded a case and I represented, most of the time it was a woman who came into a substantial property settlement and or alimony award and needed financial direction, I referred them to Glenn. Always got great feedback about Glenn's services and the team that he had. Anyway, in 2013, Glenn and I had lunch, and he was going on and on about how excited he was about the business coming out of the financial crisis from 07 to 09 and how his firm kept growing exponentially. And I jokingly said to him, well, if things are going that well, sounds like you have capacity to hire me. Why don't you bring me over? And he said, I would, but you're never going to quit practicing law. And I just said, make me an offer. Sounds like fun. So we hammered it out. I made partner at my law firm, and then I quit 2 weeks later and joined up with Glenn.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. So talk a little bit about the work that you are doing now.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm a full-fledged wealth advisor. We provide comprehensive wealth management for happily married people. And I probably spend at least half my time working with our clients and our prospective clients who are going through the divorce process, which was Glenn's major motivation for bringing me on the team. He felt like if I can get my licenses and learn the financial services industry, the knowledge that I had from a decade of litigating the divorce cases would be a differentiator for our firm. And I think it really has been.
Absolutely. So who is an ideal client for you now?
Sure. An ideal client in the divorce space is probably a woman who comes into, somewhere between 5 and 15 million in a property settlement and needs a new advisory team. Wealth manager, CPA, estate planning attorney. I've got relationships with all of those people from my time litigating and, of course, serving clients for nearly a decade in the financial services. And we're set up to be, turnkey, working with them during their divorce case. We build their financial infrastructure so when their case ends and they finally get dominion over their assets, they don't miss a beat. They understand how much money they have to run their life on a monthly basis, and they don't miss a beat getting ready to start the next chapter of their life.
That makes a lot of sense. What are you finding are some of the biggest mistakes they're making that you're helping them solve?
I think the hard part, Seth, is so many of these people, when they were married, they didn't have a budget. Maybe they just swiped their credit card and they had no idea what their monthly expenses were. And I think getting them and helping them transition and understand that, life is different now and they may need to have a budget and need to be cognizant. I also think that, sometimes I've seen, and this is a rare case, but somebody gets remarried, they're married to somebody who thinks they know more than the wealth advisor and then leads them down a wrong path. I mean, you can try all you can to help those people out, but sometimes that causes problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Hard to help someone who thinks they know everything.
Right.
So obviously we're not giving any investment advice on today's show, but I'm sure you're getting that question all the time when those folks are getting those divorce settlements, in terms of market outlook, what's going on with all the volatility? What are you telling folks now in terms of, the Ullman market outlook?
We're incredibly optimistic and bullish on the future. We put our clients in a diversified portfolio that's going to help them accomplish their goals. And especially, education is such a central component of what we do. And we teach them that, they have to build in these temporary declines in the market into their expectations. And, just help them understand and reassure them during the tough times and showing them all the things that we're doing, harvesting losses when it's appropriate, rebalancing their portfolio, really optimizing their portfolio and get it set up for the next bull run.
That makes a lot of sense. With all the success you've had, what's your biggest challenge now?
I think it's capacity. I think it's delivering that same level of deep service to the clients. I mean, it's a hard job. I enjoy it thoroughly, but being available to serve everybody. And one of the things I dislike most about financial services, Seth, is when somebody asks what your minimums are. I want to help everybody, and I feel like when somebody calls up, instead of telling them, "Oh, I can't help you," because you don't meet my minimum threshold, I try to help them understand what they need to do so I can be a great value proposition for them. I mean, if somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I've got $15,000, where do I put it?" But they're not maximizing, they're not maxing out their 401k. They don't have health insurance. They don't have disability insurance. I try to show them all the things they need to do. And then when they get here, this is when I can be most helpful to them. And I find that people appreciate that so much.
Absolutely. Well, that kind of segues into you mentioned it. So, what do you like best about what you do?
I think that the people that I'm blessed to serve, a lot of times they don't have any direction. They don't have their husband anymore, somebody that they trusted. And I like to fill that void and be the person that they trust. And coming from the legal world, we're fiduciaries as attorneys. So being a fiduciary in the wealth management, I mean, that's the only way that I would do the job. It's unfathomable to me when wealth advisors aren't fiduciaries. So I think building that trust, guiding them, and being available. I mean, look, when people open up their account statements, present company included, it's not fun to see that big red number right now, but to help clients understand that, hey, I'm going through this with you. The pilot doesn't appreciate the turbulence either, but the plane's not going to fall out of the sky, and we're going to get there. Maybe we have to change altitudes. If we're at 35,000 feet, maybe we go up to 38,000 feet or drop it down to 32,000 feet. And when the ride gets smoother, we'll get back to our cruising altitude.
That is a great analogy. How are folks finding you?
Really, really well. We had one client that we had to talk off the ledge from going to cash during the pandemic, when the pandemic first started in the early part of 2020. But people are hanging in there. We've been through it. And instead of hiding under the desk when the tough times hit, I feel like the great thing about our firm, my team and the other advisors, we're out in front, we're leading, we're writing, we're blogging, we're sending videos to our clients. And, Seth, I'm sure you tell people too, predicting the future is extremely difficult. I love to look at the market outlook at the end of 2019 and look at what people forecasted for 2020. And then we had the coronavirus, catch us by surprise. Then the year ended up great. It doesn't change our plan. It doesn't change how we feel about investing in the great companies of the world and their outlook for future profitability.
Absolutely. And then how do clients find Ullman Wealth Partners in the first place? How are they coming in the door?
Luckily, we have great relationships with some of our centers of influence, some of our CPAs, our estate planning attorney friends, some of the divorce lawyers that I've done work with over the years. Nothing beats a great referral from people that we've worked with and trust our work and know that we're going to take care of their clients.
Absolutely. Now, you're an attorney, then you became a wealth advisor. Is accountant next for you?
No, I don't know if I can stomach the CPA exam.
You passed the bar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm staying put right now. I think the great thing about the financial services world, you've experienced this too, but there's a myriad of new products and twists on old products and changing rules from the Department of Labor and the Securities and Exchange Commission. I mean, I feel like it's to stay up on our continuing education requirements. It's drinking from a fire hose at high pressure.
Yeah, that is a great way to put it. I know obviously you're committed to lifelong learning, given both of your careers working together. What are some of the best books or resources you've ever read that have helped influence your career and helping others?
How about the book that I wrote? It's called Move Forward Confidently. You could find it on Amazon. The proceeds from the sale of the book aren't going to get me to retirement. We donate the proceeds from the sale of the book to the Hubbard House, which is a shelter for victims of domestic violence in Northeast Florida. So that's a great book. There's Hans Rosling wrote a book called Factfulness. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but basically it takes some popular myths about how poor the world is, how poorly educated the world is, and paints a great picture and gives us reason for optimism. I really like Thomas Friedman, who's a columnist for the New York Times. He's written a number of books, which I find tremendously profound and insightful. My favorite book is, he wrote a book about how America has fallen behind and how we can come back. The precise title of the book is escaping me right now, but I love that book. I'm an optimistic person, and I think he talks about population growth and climate change and where we spend our money as a federal government, how we're spending it on servicing debt. And we used to invest in roads, schools, infrastructure. We're not investing anymore. We're using our tax revenue to service our debt with all of our foreign nations. And, he talks about, the Republicans want to cut taxes and the Democrats want to increase spending. We need to increase our taxes a little bit and cut spending to get us back on track, but nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, you are absolutely right there. Well, we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. For our folks watching or listening who want to learn more, where's the best place for them to go to learn more about you?
Sure. So our firm's website, ullmanwealthpartners.com. You can see behind me if your guests are watching. Ullman has 2 L's and 2 N's. We also have another website, www.divorceadv.com. You can get to the Divorce Advisory Group website from the Ullman webpage, but I've got a number of videos that break down the different components of the divorce process. So I think for any of your friends and family, if you want to do them a good service, to just give them a nutshell education on the divorce process, I strongly advise that you go there, check out some of the videos, and that should be great. A great way to get us started.
All right. Well, we will certainly send them there. This has been Seth Green with Patrick Kilbane of Ullman Wealth Partners. Patrick, thanks again for joining us.
You got it, Seth. Have a great weekend.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.